Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Zero Hakathos, still doing my review on Gnosis of the Cosmic Christ. I am reporting to you from the sephira of Gevurah, the sphere of judgment and godly fear, as well as sacrifice. So, I would like to start off with actually something very personal. I was having dreams that actually pertain to Gevurah. I didn't know it at the time until I was actually reading about the sephira further. And, well, we know that Gevurah is the sephira of judgment. So you're going to be tested, especially when you're within the sphere. And your character is tested, I believe, through either your visions or your dreams and how you respond within those dreams. Sometimes they may be very dark tests, and sometimes they may be very subtle. With me, I had a dream that I was attending this party, and it started off normal enough, but it became more debaucherous. And it got to the point where, like, just a lot of disgusting things were happening that, I wouldn't want to go into detail about. And in the party, I walked away. As I was exiting the party, I saw two angels. And once the angels noticed that I noticed them, they flew away. So, I do believe that you are either tested in order to determine whether you are pure enough to keep going, or either there are forces out there that are aware of those who are trying to spiritually ascend and evolve, and they're trying to corrupt us. So it may be both. I wouldn't put it past either theory. So the other dream I had, let's see. Give me a second, just going through my notes. I invoked Samael, who is the spirit of Gevurah, and he's not the devil. He's an angel, and even though, like I explained in the last video where I was reviewing Gnosis of the Cosmic Christ, he's not the devil. He just has a dirty job to do. So anyway, I had a dream that I was learning to become an assassin, and I was going to the school, and I ended up killing my teachers. And it was like I had the dream, and then the interpretation came to me, and this is the interpretation: by learning from gods, angels, and or demons, you are elevated to their level until they no longer appear as powerful to you. While you can still respect and love these beings, you are no longer of the mindset that you need to be in subjection to them. Okay? So, with my personal experience, the more I dealt with these particular beings, they stopped looking like monsters and started looking more like human beings and started acting more like human beings. So when you go to spiritually ascend, you become equal to these entities, and then you start seeing them, for example, as family, or as friends, or as equals. And I've even had specific entities tell me not to worship them. And I've had entities tell me that we are on the same level. And that's what happens when you get to a certain point in your spiritual journey. The other dream that I had, I invoked Samael again. And I had a dream that I was caught in my car during a flood and started drowning. What happened was, in the dream, I was driving during a rainstorm and there was a dip in the street. And at first, there were floodwaters and they were very low. So I decided to drive my car across those waters, and I ended up getting stuck. And then the flood water started rising very quickly. So the interpretation for that dream is that Gevurah teaches the fear and awe of the power of God. That which creates can also destroy. And my reading also came up with, it talked about how when you pursue direct contact with God, you have to realize that you put yourself in potential danger. The book gives an example of a tiger. And it says there are 3 types of people that would approach a tiger. One that is so enlightened that they realize their connection to the tiger. And so they can pet the tiger and not be harmed. But then you have the fool and the stupid one. The fool is the one that, I guess, I might have gotten it switched around, but like it says something to the effect that the fool is the one that pets the tiger and does not pay attention to their fear, and so they get eaten. And the stupid one is the one that's too stupid to be afraid of the tiger, and that person also gets mauled. So we want to be like the first person, the one that is enlightened, understands our connection, so that we don't get destroyed. It says that if the tiger is dangerous, how much more so is God? Because God is basically raw energy. So going back to the actual pages in the book, 177, Gevurah is the sephira of strength. Okay, we already talked about that. A big part of gaining strength is going through ordeals. Even though the path of the Kabbalist can speed up a person's evolution, by no means does that mean the path is easier than that of an average person. Okay, so the book quotes Matthew chapter 7, verse 13 and 14. Let me get my Bible real quick. Okay, Matthew chapter 7, 13 and 14 say, "Enter through the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the road is easy that leads to destruction, and there are many who take it. For the gate is narrow and the road is hard that leads to life, and there are few who find it." Okay, so this path that we are on is not going to be easy, and many are going to fall off. And there's not going to be many that finds the path in the first place. Part of facing ordeals on the path includes facing the full force of one's karma. While this can be intimidating to most, the truth is that it leads to the healing of the soul and liberation. Okay, so, I was once asked, why am am I going, not me specifically, the person asked why they were going through all this stuff when they try to be as good as possible. And if they are on the path that I think they may be on, then they may be facing their karma and may not be understanding it. But that's what's going to lead them to healing. It's going to purify them and make them face, their shadow and their darker self so that they can accept their whole selves. That's how I see it anyway. This facing of the full force of karma is referred to as the ordeal of power, which triggers the second dark night of the soul. Okay, so the dark night of the soul pretty much leads to the abyss. And the abyss is also known as the sphere of knowledge. So when we go through this, we go through ordeals, but it leads us to knowing about ourselves and understanding like the world around us. Those with too many unresolved issues run the risk of going mad. And this is why shadow work is important and why I personally think it was good for me to travel through the Qliphothic tree first. Because, just put me through a whole bunch of dark stuff, and I just got that out of the way. Power does not reflect enlightenment, and there are no shortcuts. As Michael once told me, having the power to bind an angel will give you the power of that angel, but not its attributes. So you can't gain wisdom by binding a spirit of wisdom, and you can't gain understanding by binding a spirit associated with the attribute. As a species, humanity is experiencing an ordeal of power because our maturity to use the power we currently have, for example, technology, wisely is being tested. One example of society that failed its ordeal of power would be Atlantis. This is coming from me, not the book. That's the example. On an individual level, we can check ourselves by asking if the power we currently have is being used to uplift and liberate those around us. Okay. So, with that flood, well, let me just continue. Gevurah is the sephira of godly fear. It reminds us that the danger we potentially put ourselves in by seeking God, it reminds us of the danger we potentially put ourselves in by seeking God and the awesome power we expose ourselves to. This was made evident in my dream about getting caught in a flood. For those who tend to become too arrogant in their spiritual progress, Gevurah will humble you and let you know that there is always a greater power. Thus, we are exposed to the fear of God. Okay. Page 181, it said, fear is a natural feeling that can alert us to possible danger. A lot of people see fear as, there's a lot of talk going around that, once you get to a certain spiritual level, there is no fear, but an imbalance of fear is the problem. Let me continue though. While an imbalance can hinder us, healthy fear can lead us to mindfulness and alertness. Also, experiencing God directly will cause us to experience the full spectrum of emotion. The true nature of sacrifice is revealed. It goes on to explain the true nature of sacrifice after that. So, the true nature of sacrifice, this is on page 182, and I'm not reading them, these are my notes on what I've read so far. The true nature of sacrifice is revealed. It means to transform something and make it sacred, saving it for a holy purpose. While most people see sacrifice as giving something up, it actually involves improving something. For example, how you spend your time or how you live your life. It is a form of withholding for a higher purpose. Sacrifice was represented by burning something because it was believed to be a way of sending the offering to the spiritual realm. If anybody knows anything about fire, too, fire is said to also be a purifying element. So it burns away all the garbage and crap and leaves that which is pure. I know this is probably going to be one of my shorter videos that's going over this. The reason for that is that I have other information that is coming to me. And so what I'm doing is kind of like my time is being divided between trying to focus on reading this book and experiencing this book, as well as getting information from the Spirit about other things that I have to report on. So I hope this is helpful. I'm going to continue to, report on the book, and we'll eventually cover this. But I feel that it's more important to experience the book so I can help you guys understand and explain it from my point of view and break it down, rather than just read straight from the book, or just tell you, hey, this book is good, read it. So I hope those who are listening are inspired to search the scriptures, to search for God through meditation as well, and contemplation, and to also read the book that I'm reviewing. So with that said, have a good night, day, whatever time it is when you're listening to this, and keep up on your spiritual journey. Don't give up. It's going to be hard, but you're not the only one out there. So keep it moving.